The colony of Aurora Prime had once been a shining symbol of human courage. Far beyond the solar system, it floated among the stars like a small blue jewel in the darkness. Its cities sparkled under protective domes, and its people had built a life filled with discovery, hope, and a promise that humanity could thrive anywhere. Scientists, engineers, and families lived together, working tirelessly to expand humanity's reach. It was a place where dreams of the future were alive, and each sunrise brought new possibilities. No one saw the storm coming. The first warning was subtle, a flicker in communications, a faint signal interference that technicians dismissed as a minor error. Then came the first strikes. Explosions ripped through cities, tearing apart buildings and shattering glass that had protected generations. Fire erupted on the surface, sending smoke spiraling into Aurora Prime's thin atmosphere. People screamed, and alarms rang across the colonies. The attackers were swift, precise, and merciless. They were not here to negotiate. The Galactic Consortium had arrived. No one knew exactly how many alien fleets had descended, but their firepower was unimaginable. Aurora Prime's defenses, built to withstand natural disasters and minor skirmishes, were no match. The consortium's ships fired energy beams that cut through buildings as if they were paper. Entire districts vanished in seconds. The people of Aurora Prime tried to fight back, sending their patrol ships into the void, but they were crushed one by one. Panic spread faster than fire. Families clung to each other, and those who could escape fled into the few surviving shuttles, racing toward the stars with hopes that someone, somewhere, would hear their cries. On Earth, the news arrived like a physical blow. Screens across the planet showed the colony burning in real time. Governments held emergency meetings. Scientists, military commanders, and world leaders convened in the largest crisis council humanity had ever seen. Rage and grief filled the air, but alongside them came determination. Humanity had been struck, yes, but it was far from broken. In a hidden chamber beneath Earth's orbiting command center, the leaders revealed a secret plan that had been prepared for decades. Humanity had anticipated that someday, some force might try to challenge them. That day had arrived. From the darkness of deep space, humanity's response would be unlike anything the universe had ever seen. 500,000 Dreadnought-class warships were ready. Each was a marvel of human engineering, designed to fight and survive in the harshest conditions. They were massive, towering vessels capable of carrying devastating weapons, and yet agile enough to outmaneuver far larger alien ships. AI systems controlled by human minds allowed them to coordinate seamlessly, almost as if the fleet itself were a single living entity. For decades, they had been built in secret, hidden in asteroid bases and deep space hangars. No alien force could have imagined their existence. Admiral Kara Voss stood at the command bridge, her eyes fixed on the holographic map that showed Aurora Prime's coordinates. Her jaw was tight, and her normally calm voice carried steel as she addressed the assembled officers. "This is humanity's response," she said. "The consortium thought they could destroy our colonies and break our spirit. They were wrong. They will learn the hard way that humans never surrender, not now, not ever. We strike, we protect, and we ensure no one ever underestimates us again." Every corner of Earth was united by grief, yes, but also by the determination to act. The human race had always faced dangers, natural disasters, disease, even war among themselves, but nothing had ever stopped them when the stakes were this high. As the first dreadnoughts prepared to leave orbit, sensors on Aurora Prime continued to relay the horrifying reality of the colony. The consortium had overestimated their power and underestimated human tenacity. They believed the colony's destruction would demoralize Earth, but every explosion, every fire, only strengthened the resolve of those watching from afar. Humanity would answer, and their answer would shake the stars. The dreadnoughts launched into the void like a river of steel and light. Engines flared, cutting through the blackness of space. Pilots felt the weight of responsibility heavier than any physical force. They were not just soldiers, they were avengers, protectors, and symbols of the human spirit. Even the youngest cadets understood that their actions would echo across the galaxy. Back on Aurora Prime, survivors huddled in the shadows of ruined cities. They watched the distant stars, not knowing that above them, a fleet 500,000 strong was already en route. They dared to hope, even as the air burned and the ground shook beneath them. Children clung to their parents, and parents whispered that humans were never truly alone. Somewhere out there, help was coming. The consortium, in their arrogance, had assumed that fear alone could control humanity. They had not accounted for the most dangerous weapon in existence, human determination. They had no idea that every mind, every hand, every soul on Earth was already working toward a single purpose. They had underestimated the lengths humanity would go to protect its own. Admiral Voss watched the stars through the reinforced glass of the command bridge. She saw the distant glimmer of Aurora Prime's system and felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. But she did not hesitate. Humanity had been through crises before, and each time they had emerged stronger. The destruction of a colony would not change that. It would fuel it. "Coordinates set," Tanaka reported. "All dreadnoughts in formation, ready for jump." The air was thick with anticipation. Outside the observation windows, stars began to stretch into lines as the fleet entered hyperspace, leaving Earth and its grief behind. The war that would decide the fate of colonies, systems, and perhaps even human destiny had begun. For those left behind on Aurora Prime, the fire still raged. Yet, for the first time, hope ignited alongside the flames. Messages from Earth reached the survivors, transmitted through secure channels, telling them that help was on the way. Children looked up at the night sky and saw the faint shimmer of something massive approaching. Adults wiped tears from their eyes, silently promising that humanity would not allow this atrocity to go unanswered. On Earth, the planet itself seemed to hold its breath. Across every continent, people stopped, watching the screens, following the fleet through virtual tracking systems, feeling a strange and powerful connection to something greater than themselves. Humanity was stepping into the galaxy not as timid settlers, but as a force to be reckoned with. And somewhere deep within the consortium's ranks, alien commanders looked at their displays with growing unease. They had struck swiftly, believing they had shattered humanity's reach. But as distant sensor readings showed a fleet of unprecedented scale moving faster than any intelligence had predicted, the first seeds of doubt appeared. Could these humans truly be so united, so relentless? Could they, against all odds, return from the ashes with a vengeance no civilization could contain? The answer would come soon enough. As the fleet moved through the darkness, the thought that echoed across every bridge, every cockpit, and every mind was simple: humanity would not stop. Aurora Prime would be avenged. Every life lost would be honored. And the galaxy would learn, in a way no one could forget, that humans were never to be underestimated. For the first time since the attack, the survivors of Aurora Prime allowed themselves to hope. And somewhere in the silent void of space, the engines of 500,000 dreadnoughts roared with the promise of reckoning. This was the beginning. Not just of a war, but of a demonstration of human strength, ingenuity, and courage that would echo across the stars. Humanity had been tested, and for the first time, the universe would see the true power of the species it had underestimated. And Earth, united and unwavering, was ready to show it. Earth had never seen a mobilization like this. Across continents, every factory, spaceport, and research facility worked tirelessly, producing machines that could alter the course of the galaxy. The dreadnoughts, massive and gleaming, were more than just ships. They were symbols of humanity's will, ingenuity, and determination. Each one was a fortress in space, capable of immense destruction, yet designed with the intelligence and adaptability that only humans could achieve. Admiral Kara Voss stood on the command bridge of the largest orbital shipyard. She looked out at the fleet of vessels slowly rising from Earth's surface into orbit. 500,000 dreadnoughts, each one carefully constructed, tested, and ready. The enormity of it could have overwhelmed any mind, but Voss thrived in challenges. She understood that each ship represented not just power, but hope, the hope of a species that refused to be crushed. Beside her, Dr. Elias Chen adjusted his tablet, monitoring the AI synchronization systems that allowed the dreadnoughts to function as one. He was a man who spent most of his life thinking about equations and designs, yet now he could feel the weight of the lives these ships represented. "The neural links are stable," he reported. "Each dreadnought is communicating perfectly with the fleet. Even at maximum range, our coordination is unmatched. The consortium thinks they can overwhelm us with numbers and firepower. They have no idea what human precision can do." Even cadets, young and inexperienced, contributed by monitoring systems, analyzing potential enemy tactics, and learning to operate auxiliary weapons. Every hand mattered, every mind was engaged, and the energy of purpose filled the entire station. Meanwhile, on the ground below, supply chains moved at a speed that seemed impossible. Ships were fueled, armed, and provisioned. Every planet-wide airport and orbital shuttle system was repurposed to carry personnel and materials to the assembly yards. Earth's population, united by grief and determination, watched as the seeds of vengeance and justice took shape in orbit above them. Dr. Chen moved to the observation deck of one of the largest dreadnoughts. Through the glass, he could see the fleet slowly forming in precise patterns. Each ship adjusted its position with exacting accuracy. Even a small misalignment could create chaos on such a massive scale, but the human crews were flawless. "It's almost like watching a single living thing breathe," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. Voss, standing next to him, replied, "A living thing that can fight back when everything else fails." But what made the fleet truly terrifying was humanity's ability to adapt, to innovate, to use intelligence over brute force. Training exercises were underway even as the ships moved into formation. Pilots practiced evasive maneuvers in simulated asteroid fields, while AI systems calculated hundreds of thousands of possible battle scenarios simultaneously. Human crews coordinated with the machines, proving that intuition, creativity, and courage could enhance the power of even the most advanced technology. In the fleet's central command hub, Voss addressed the assembled officers and pilots. "We are not just moving to avenge a colony. We are demonstrating that humanity is capable of defending every world we touch. Every action we take must be precise. Every decision matters. The consortium believes they are invincible. Let us show them that humans are not just survivors. We are strategists, innovators, and warriors." It was a voice that carried across millions of kilometers of space, binding together the minds and hearts of the fleet. While the fleet prepared, reconnaissance units scouted the outer rim. Drones and small craft slipped silently into enemy territory, collecting data on the consortium's positions, defenses, and patterns. The aliens believed their strength and technology made them untouchable, but humans knew better. Every weakness, no matter how small, could be exploited. Every pattern could be turned against them. On Aurora Prime, news reached the survivors. Digital broadcasts informed them that help was on the way, and hope spread like a wave through those who had endured unimaginable loss. Children looked at the night sky with wonder, and adults felt a cautious optimism. The human race, they realized, had a will as vast and unstoppable as the stars themselves. As the dreadnoughts moved into deeper orbit, the final preparations began. Fuel levels were checked, weapon systems were calibrated, and AI routines were synchronized with human oversight. Engineers worked around the clock to ensure every ship was ready. There was no room for error, no margin for failure. Humanity's future depended on their success. During a quiet moment, Dr. Chen walked along the observation deck, gazing at the assembly of ships. 500,000, he murmured. I never imagined humans could achieve something like this. We don't imagine, Elias, we do. Humans never stop, that's what makes us dangerous. They were leaving their home, their families, and everything familiar behind, heading into a war they knew would test every skill, every nerve, and every ounce of courage they possessed. Commander Tanaka led a squadron of dreadnoughts, flying in formation like a single predator. He could feel the pulse of the fleet, the synchronization of ship and crew. Each movement was calculated, precise, and deadly. He understood the responsibility he carried, not just for his crew, but for humanity itself. Every decision could mean victory or annihilation. As the fleet moved farther from Earth, the consortium became aware of the human mobilization. Alien commanders were startled, realizing that humans had prepared far more than they had imagined. Their sensors detected the scale of the fleet, the coordination, and the advanced AI systems. Panic rippled through their ranks, though their pride would not allow them to show it. They had attacked what they thought was a minor colony, expecting Earth to flinch. Instead, humanity was mobilizing on a scale that no other species had ever achieved. Voss watched the fleet from her command ship, feeling the tension and anticipation. "They think they can intimidate us," she said. "They don't know what humans are capable of when united." Drones fired simulated energy blasts. AI systems created false targets, and crews practiced responding with speed and precision. The dreadnoughts, massive as they were, moved with a grace and coordination that belied their size. Humans were teaching the galaxy a lesson. Power was not only in weapons or numbers, but in intelligence, adaptability, and courage. Even in the midst of preparation, there were moments of humanity. Pilots exchanged messages with families, engineers shared stories of lost friends, and commanders reminded each other of what they were fighting for. The sense of purpose was overwhelming. This was not just a war fleet, it was humanity itself, sent into space to reclaim dignity, justice, and hope. As the last dreadnoughts left Earth orbit, the final countdown began. Engines flared once more, and the fleet entered hyperspace, leaving the solar system behind. Stars stretched into lines, and time seemed to distort as 500,000 ships raced toward Aurora Prime. Every crew member knew that the journey would be dangerous. Every sensor and instrument was tuned for battle. But they also knew something else. Humans never gave up. Humans never surrendered. For those still on Earth, the fleet's departure was a moment of collective pride and silent resolve. Across cities and towns, people watched, prayed, and prepared. They knew that the coming war would shape the fate of the human race, but they also knew that their children, their friends, and their neighbors were in capable hands. Humanity was ready to defend what was theirs, and for the survivors on Aurora Prime, hope became tangible. Messages from the fleet confirmed that the Armada was moving at unprecedented speed. The promise of rescue, the certainty of vengeance, and the knowledge that humans were coming to reclaim what had been lost sparked courage even in those who had seen everything burned away. The galaxy, vast and silent, waited. Alien commanders within the consortium tried to predict humanity's movements, but they were unprepared for the scale, precision, and intelligence they were about to encounter. 500,000 dreadnoughts were coming, and every pilot, engineer, and soldier aboard them was fueled not just by strategy, but by the unbreakable human spirit. As the fleet surged through hyperspace, Admiral Voss stood on the bridge of her flagship. Her eyes were fixed on the distant coordinates of Aurora Prime, her mind focused on strategy, tactics, and the inevitable confrontation. She took a deep breath and said aloud, more to herself than anyone else, "Let them see what humanity can do. Let them learn that no colony, no life, and no dream is beyond our protection. We are human, and we will not be stopped." And somewhere, in the cold emptiness of space, the consortium began to realize that the species they had underestimated would not be defeated. The stage was set for the greatest demonstration of human resilience and strength the galaxy had ever seen. And for every crew aboard those massive warships, the message was clear. Aurora Prime would be avenged, and humanity would rise, stronger and more united than ever before. The journey through hyperspace had stretched on for weeks, yet the fleet remained unwavering. 500,000 dreadnoughts glided through the darkness, a river of steel, firepower, and human determination. Inside each ship, crews maintained strict routines. Pilots ran drills, engineers monitored systems, and commanders studied intelligence reports on the consortium. Every movement, every calculation, every decision mattered. Failure was not an option. Humanity's survival and honor depended on it. Commander Jiro Tanaka looked out from his cockpit as his squadron glided silently alongside thousands of other ships. Stars stretched into long streaks across the viewing panels, and a sense of weightless calm filled the air. But calm was deceptive. Tanaka knew that the real test would come when they emerged from hyperspace into the unknown. Every sensor, every weapon system, and every crew member had to perform perfectly. "Status report," Tanaka called to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Mara Lee. "All systems green, weapons calibrated, shields at maximum efficiency. AI synchronization stable across the fleet," she replied, her voice calm, but the tension in her eyes betrayed the seriousness of the moment. Tanaka nodded. "Good. Remember, this isn't just about destroying enemy ships. We have to protect survivors, secure strategic positions, and make sure Aurora Prime remains safe. Every life matters." Small, fast, and almost invisible, they slipped into enemy territory, gathering information about consortium patrols, orbital defense platforms, and fleet positions. The aliens had not expected such thorough reconnaissance. They believed that humans would react impulsively, but humans had prepared for every eventuality. The drones returned with data that would allow Admiral Voss to plan multiple attack strategies simultaneously, giving humanity a tactical advantage before a single shot was fired. On Aurora Prime, survivors received the news of the advancing fleet. For weeks, they had lived in fear, hiding from the remnants of alien patrols, scavenging for food, and struggling to maintain hope. Now messages from the approaching armada filled their communication channels. Children ran to windows, pointing to distant flickers of light in the starry sky, believing they could see the fleet approaching. Adults whispered prayers of relief, and for the first time since the attack, smiles returned. Humanity was coming to save them. Dr. Elias Chen moved along the observation deck of his dreadnought, studying holographic displays of enemy territory. He was in awe of the precision with which the fleet was organized. Every ship's trajectory, every weapon system, and every communication channel had been calculated. Even with 500,000 dreadnoughts, there was no confusion, no miscommunication. It was a testament to human ingenuity and determination. "Elias," Admiral Voss called, appearing at his side, "are the AI networks ready to coordinate the attack? We can adjust tactics in real time, respond to threats instantly, and even adapt to unforeseen circumstances faster than any enemy fleet can." The consortium believes they are unbeatable, but they haven't faced humans united like this. Pilots executed complex maneuvers, relying on instinct, training, and cooperation with AI systems. The galaxy was full of dangers, and humans had to be ready to overcome each one. In one particularly treacherous region, a dense asteroid belt threatened to scatter an entire squadron. Commander Tanaka led his ships through the twisting paths, weaving between massive rocks, dodging sudden explosions from unstable debris. Crew members gripped controls tightly, knowing that one mistake could destroy not only their ship but also their comrades. "Hold formation," Tanaka shouted, his voice cutting through the tension. "Trust your instincts, trust your training. We move as one." Alien patrols attempted to ambush the human fleet, firing energy beams and launching small attack craft. The dreadnoughts responded with precision. Guided missiles found their targets, plasma cannons disabled enemy engines, and AI systems coordinated counterattacks that neutralized threats almost before they became dangerous. Lieutenant Mara Lee monitored one such encounter from her station. "We're outnumbered, sir," she said, her hands moving quickly over the controls. "But our systems are outperforming theirs, shields holding steady, and their ships are already retreating from coordinated counterattacks. Let them waste their strength while we prepare for the main assault." Chen worked with his team to develop adaptive strategies. Using data from reconnaissance drones and early skirmishes, they created dynamic battle plans that could respond to alien maneuvers in real time. Each dreadnought could operate semi-independently while remaining part of the larger coordinated effort. This level of synchronization had never been seen before in the galaxy. Humanity was proving that intelligence, preparation, and adaptability were far more dangerous than brute force alone. On the command bridge of the flagship, Admiral Voss addressed her officers. "We have encountered resistance," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "But every engagement has reinforced a truth: humans are stronger together. We will continue our advance, secure Aurora Prime, and demonstrate that no colony can ever be destroyed without consequence." As the fleet approached the inner systems of the consortium, the first major obstacles emerged. Alien defensive structures, shielded platforms, and heavily armed ships awaited. The consortium had assumed humans would arrive slowly, cautiously, and predictably. Instead, the dreadnoughts moved with speed, precision, and creativity. Fleet formations adapted to the terrain of space, using gravity wells, asteroid cover, and decoy units to confuse enemy sensors. Humans demonstrated once again that intelligence and innovation could match and surpass superior technology. Commander Tanaka led a daring maneuver through a concentrated enemy blockade. His squadron used a combination of evasive flight patterns, synchronized attacks, and electronic countermeasures to bypass the first wave of defenses. The alien ships, powerful but rigid in their tactics, could not adapt quickly enough. Tanaka's squadron emerged from the engagement largely unscathed, their confidence and morale strengthened. Admiral Voss observed the operation, pride and determination in her eyes. "This is what humans do best," she said. "We think, we adapt, and we fight with purpose. No force in the galaxy can match that." Each engagement, each challenge, only reinforced the lesson the galaxy would soon learn: humans are not predictable. They are resilient, resourceful, and relentless. Every skirmish, every successful maneuver built momentum. Humanity's determination became almost tangible, spreading across the fleet like a force that could not be stopped. As the fleet approached the system containing Aurora Prime, reconnaissance revealed the true scale of the consortium's presence. Hundreds of enemy ships, orbital platforms bristling with weapons, and deep space fortifications awaited. The aliens had assumed humans would hesitate, but they were wrong. Humanity's fleet, though massive, moved with coordination and precision that no other species had seen. 500,000 dreadnoughts would strike together, a tidal wave of steel, fire, and human ingenuity. Dr. Chen turned to Admiral Voss. "They will not expect us to synchronize the entire fleet at this scale. Even with superior numbers, they can't adapt fast enough. That is why humans always win. Not because we have the strongest weapons, but because we never stop thinking, learning, and adapting." They had trained for this moment, and the galaxy would soon witness the full power of human unity and ingenuity. For those on Aurora Prime, hope became a reality. Survivors prepared to meet their rescuers, signaling their location, gathering what supplies remained, and readying for liberation. Humans were coming, and the message was clear: no attack on their kind would go unanswered. Humanity would reclaim its home, and the consortium would learn a lesson they would never forget. As the dreadnoughts approached the outer edges of Aurora Prime's system, the first signs of a larger engagement appeared. Alien forces moved to intercept, but humans were ready. Every squadron, every ship, every crew member understood the stakes. They would fight not just for victory, but for the survival, honor, and future of humanity. And in the heart of the fleet, Admiral Voss watched the approaching system, her mind focused, her resolve unshakable. "This is where we show the galaxy who we are," she said quietly. "This is where humans prove that no force can break us. Aurora Prime will be saved, and humanity will rise stronger than ever before." What had once been a peaceful solar system now bore the scars of the consortium's occupation. Human sensors picked up energy signatures, moving ships, and defensive arrays positioned to crush any approaching fleet. Yet, for all its strength, the consortium was about to discover that numbers and firepower alone could not defeat a species that never gave up. Admiral Kara Voss stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the data streams with sharp eyes. She had studied every report from reconnaissance drones and early skirmishes, analyzing enemy formations, weapon placements, and defensive strategies. The aliens believed that their technological superiority would intimidate humans into hesitation, but they had underestimated one critical factor: human resolve. "Prepare for engagement," Voss commanded. "500,000 dreadnoughts, all systems synchronized, every maneuver calculated. We strike together, we strike decisively, and we strike for Aurora Prime." Even the most advanced species in the galaxy had never seen a fleet this massive, this coordinated, or this determined. Commander Jiro Tanaka led the first wave of dreadnoughts. His squadron glided forward with deadly precision, weaving between debris fields and using the gravitational pull of nearby planets to accelerate their approach. Every movement was deliberate, every formation tested against simulations, and every weapon system ready for instant action. Alien scouts detected the advancing human fleet and scrambled to intercept. Small patrols moved toward the dreadnoughts, firing energy beams that could slice through conventional ships, but the humans were ready. AI systems calculated trajectories faster than any alien mind could comprehend, guiding missiles and plasma bolts with unerring accuracy. Dreadnoughts moved in perfect synchrony, a dance of steel and fire that left the enemy confused and overwhelmed. Lieutenant Mara Lee monitored a skirmish from her station. "They're trying to flank us," she said. "Shields at maximum. Redirecting energy to forward arrays." For every beam fired and every ship destroyed, the promise of liberation became more real. The first major engagement occurred near a cluster of asteroid belts, where the consortium had placed orbital platforms equipped with powerful energy cannons. These platforms could destroy several dreadnoughts at a time if approached directly. But humans had a plan. Using asteroid cover and synchronized maneuvers, the fleet split into multiple groups. One wave acted as decoys, drawing enemy fire, while the main force approached from angles the consortium had not anticipated. Dr. Elias Chen monitored the engagement from his command console. "Their defenses are reacting predictably," he said. "We've programmed the fleet to adapt in real time. Adjusting attack vectors now." Alien defenses fired relentlessly, but every dreadnought had shields capable of absorbing massive energy surges, and each ship could repair damage in seconds using self-repair systems designed by humans. Tanaka's squadron targeted an alien command ship at the heart of the defenses. The vessel was massive, bristling with weapons, and heavily shielded. Yet the humans had studied every known weakness. Using a combination of synchronized fire, precision strikes, and clever maneuvering, they bypassed the outer shields and struck critical systems. Explosions erupted along the alien ship, disabling weapons and engines almost simultaneously. "Direct hit confirmed," Lee said, her voice steady but filled with triumph. "Command ship disabled." The consortium had assumed that human fear would slow them down, but they had underestimated human adaptability and intelligence. Even as the battle raged, humanity's focus remained clear: protect the survivors on Aurora Prime. Pilots adjusted trajectories to avoid collateral damage, using advanced targeting systems to ensure that alien structures were destroyed without harming the remaining population. Every explosion, every beam fired, Every maneuver made it clear that humans valued life even in the midst of war. On Aurora Prime, survivors prepared for the arrival of human forces. Children held hands with their parents, peering cautiously at the distant lights of the fleet. Adults whispered encouragement, reminding each other that the long nightmare was almost over. Every strike against the consortium's forces brought them closer to freedom. In one daring move, Tanaka led a small squadron directly into the heart of a heavily fortified enemy cluster. The maneuver was risky, almost suicidal, but it was designed to draw attention away from larger groups of dreadnoughts executing broader attacks. Using rapid-fire plasma cannons and AI-coordinated targeting, Tanaka's squadron disabled multiple orbital platforms, creating gaps in the enemy lines that allowed the main fleet to advance. "We've broken their first defense ring," Tanaka reported to Voss. "Momentum is on our side." Larger ships moved to intercept, firing waves of energy and deploying additional defensive units. Yet, each assault was met with human ingenuity. Dreadnoughts used coordinated swarms to confuse enemy targeting systems. Gravity wells and asteroid fields became natural shields, while decoy units lured enemy fire away from main squadrons. Every move was calculated, every strike precise. The humans were not just fighting, they were demonstrating the full power of intelligence combined with courage. Meanwhile, Dr. Chen coordinated electronic warfare measures. Alien communication networks were disrupted, AI systems overloaded, and defensive arrays confused. The consortium had no idea that humans could manipulate their technology while simultaneously fighting in space. It was a level of coordination and strategy that left enemy commanders scrambling. As the hours of battle stretched on, the outer defenses of Aurora Prime fell. Survivors watched in awe as the fleet advanced, striking with precision and care. The dreadnoughts, massive and powerful, moved almost like a living entity, their crews connected through AI networks and shared purpose. Every move was deliberate, every action reinforcing the truth. Humanity never surrendered, and humans never fought without thinking. The final push toward the colony was underway. Tanaka's squadron, alongside others, moved in tight formation, coordinating attacks on remaining enemy ships and orbital platforms. Explosions lit the darkness, but each dreadnought remained intact, shields glowing brightly, hulls self-repairing, and AI systems guiding them with unmatched precision. Voss observed the battle, her mind calculating every angle, every possibility. "Aurora Prime will be liberated today," she said, her voice firm. "Every survivor will be protected. Every alien ship will learn that humans cannot be broken." Children pointed toward the sky, cheering as the first dreadnoughts descended, their immense silhouettes casting shadows across the ruined landscape. Even as battle raged in orbit, human pilots took care to avoid civilian areas, using advanced navigation and targeting systems to minimize risk. Every strike was precise, every maneuver designed to protect life while eliminating enemy threats. Humanity's ability to balance power with compassion became evident, a trait that the consortium could not comprehend. Tanaka's squadron targeted the final defensive installations around Aurora Prime. Plasma beams, missiles, and AI-directed turrets worked in harmony, dismantling the remaining fortifications. Alien ships attempted a desperate retreat, but human pursuit was relentless. The dreadnought fleet, a testament to discipline, courage, and intelligence, allowed no escape. Finally, as the last of the enemy ships were destroyed or forced to flee, silence fell over Aurora Prime. The smoke of battle slowly dissipated, revealing the devastation the consortium had caused. But among the ruins, humans stood tall. Survivors emerged from hiding, children ran into the arms of rescuers, and families were reunited. Aurora Prime, scarred but alive, had been saved. Admiral Voss watched from orbit, pride swelling in her chest. "This is what humans do," she said softly. "We protect, we fight, we adapt, and we never surrender." Aurora Prime is free, and the galaxy will remember why humans cannot be underestimated. The colony had endured unimaginable loss, yet hope had returned. Humans had come, humans had fought, and humans had triumphed. The battle for Aurora Prime was over, but the message had already spread across the stars. Humanity was a force of resilience, ingenuity, and courage. No colony could be destroyed without consequence, and no enemy could underestimate the species that refused to be broken. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. The smoke of battle had finally cleared over Aurora Prime. The ruins of cities and settlements stood as reminders of the destruction the consortium had brought, yet amid the devastation, hope blossomed. Human engineers, soldiers, and volunteers moved across the surface, repairing structures, clearing debris, and restoring communication networks. The survivors, once terrified and broken, now held their heads high. Humanity had arrived to reclaim their home, and the galaxy would see that no colony could ever fall without consequence. Admiral Kara Voss hovered above the planet in her flagship, observing the operations. Her eyes scanned the recovering cities, the returning power grids, and the first signs of rebuilding. Even after all the planning, all the battles, and all the risks, the sight of humans standing tall on a scarred world filled her with pride. "We did what we promised," she said quietly to herself. "Aurora Prime is free, and the galaxy will remember why humans are never to be underestimated." Soldiers helped the injured, while engineers worked tirelessly to restore essential services. Every person knew that the cost of victory was high, but the price of failure had been far greater. Humanity had delivered justice. Dr. Elias Chen walked among the engineers and technicians, overseeing the repair of damaged dreadnoughts and civilian facilities alike. "We've rebuilt the fleet faster than anyone could have imagined," he remarked to a colleague. "And now we're rebuilding a colony, showing that human effort is limitless when united by purpose." Humans understood that victory was not simply in defeating the enemy, but in protecting their people. Every survivor, every child, every family was evidence of why humans would not allow fear to control them. Across the galaxy, news of the human victory spread like wildfire. The consortium, humiliated by their defeat, struggled to comprehend the scale of human coordination, strategy, and courage. Entire fleets had been rendered useless, orbital platforms destroyed, and colonies rescued. They had underestimated the humans' ability to unite, adapt, and fight not just with weapons, but with intelligence and determination. Admiral Voss convened a meeting aboard her flagship. Leaders from Earth, commanders of dreadnought squadrons, and surviving representatives of Aurora Prime were present. The discussion focused not only on immediate repairs but on the long-term future of human expansion. Voss's plan was clear. Humanity would not retreat. Humans would continue to explore, to settle, and to defend every colony with the same determination that had saved Aurora Prime. "We have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of," Voss addressed the assembly. "But our work is not done. We must rebuild, we must protect, and we must continue to advance. Every world we touch will know that humanity is strong, resourceful, and united. We fight not for conquest but for survival, justice, and progress." Children played under the protection of rebuilt structures, soldiers patrolled to ensure safety, and engineers worked on restoring communication networks to connect with other human colonies. The once devastated planet slowly began to breathe again. Commander Tanaka joined a meeting with local leaders. "The consortium may have tried to destroy this colony," he said, "but they failed. Humanity is not only resilient, we are relentless. Aurora Prime will rise stronger than ever, and our people will never face this alone again." The engineers had anticipated every possible failure, designed ships to self-repair, and created systems that allowed rapid redeployment. Humanity's ability to adapt and recover from loss was unmatched, and the consortium had learned that lesson at great cost. Even as the rebuilding continued, Admiral Voss looked beyond the planet. Aurora Prime was just one colony among many, and the galaxy was vast. She considered the challenges that lay ahead, ensuring the safety of human colonies, establishing communication networks, and preparing for future threats. But she also recognized the incredible achievement humanity had accomplished. 500,000 dreadnoughts had moved in perfect coordination, overcome impossible odds, and rescued a colony. Humanity had sent a message. No attack on its people would go unanswered. In the months that followed, diplomacy with alien civilizations began. Some had feared humanity and attempted to control or destroy them, but now they approached with caution and respect. Humans demonstrated that they were not aggressors without cause, but protectors of their own. The victory at Aurora Prime became a turning point, a moment when humanity announced its arrival as a force that could not be ignored. The rebuilding of Aurora Prime also became a symbol. Scientists and engineers from Earth collaborated with survivors to create stronger, more resilient infrastructure. Cities were redesigned for efficiency and safety, incorporating lessons learned from the attack. Energy grids were improved, defense systems installed, and communication networks expanded to connect with distant colonies. The planet, once scarred and vulnerable, now reflected human ingenuity and determination. Admiral Voss visited the planet's surface to witness the progress firsthand. She walked among the people, spoke with engineers and families, and observed children playing safely once more. She saw the pride in their eyes and the spark of determination that would guide the next generation. "Humans are not just survivors," she said to a group of engineers. "We are builders, thinkers, and defenders. This is the future we create together." Every student, every cadet, understood that humanity's strength lay not only in technology, but in intelligence, adaptability, and unity. Dr. Chen continued his work in the shipyards, improving dreadnought designs and developing new technology to enhance humanity's defensive and exploratory capabilities. His efforts ensured that humanity would remain a step ahead of potential adversaries. Each innovation was a testament to human creativity, persistence, and vision. As months passed, Aurora Prime blossomed anew. Crops grew, factories reopened, and the laughter of children filled the streets. Survivors rebuilt their homes and communities with resilience and care. Humanity's victory had not only saved lives, but it had also reaffirmed the principle that unity, courage, and ingenuity could overcome even the greatest threats. From orbit, Admiral Voss watched the planet, a sense of satisfaction filling her chest. Humanity had faced near destruction, yet it had triumphed. Aurora Prime had been saved, survivors restored, and the fleet repaired and stronger than ever. Humanity's reputation had spread across the galaxy. They were a species to be respected, a civilization that could defend its own and inspire others with courage and intelligence. The consortium, humbled by their defeat, began to reconsider their strategies. Some sought peace, others approached cautiously, and all had learned a valuable lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. The victory at Aurora Prime was not merely a military success. It was a declaration that humanity had arrived in the galaxy as a force to be reckoned with. Voss convened one final meeting aboard her flagship. She addressed the assembled officers and representatives of human colonies. "We have reclaimed a colony, defeated overwhelming odds, and demonstrated the true power of humanity. But our journey is far from over. We will continue to explore, to build, and to protect. Every colony, every world, and every life will know that humanity stands together. We are strong, resilient, and united. This is just the beginning of a new era." Chen added, "Our technology, our strategy, our unity, they have proven unbeatable when combined. Humanity will continue to grow, to learn, and to protect. This is our legacy, and it will shine across the stars." Survivors thrived, engineers innovated, and children grew up knowing that humans could overcome any challenge. The Dreadnought fleet, repaired and upgraded, stood ready to defend every human colony, a symbol of unity and strength that no enemy could ignore. Across the galaxy, the story of Aurora Prime spread. Other civilizations, once skeptical or fearful, began to respect humans not through intimidation, but through the demonstration of courage, intelligence, and unity. Humanity had proven that even in the face of destruction, they would rise, stronger and more determined than ever. Admiral Voss, standing on the observation deck of her flagship, gazed at the stars with quiet satisfaction. The future was vast, the challenges many, but humanity was ready. Aurora Prime had been saved, and the galaxy would remember this day as the moment when humans showed that no force, no threat, and no obstacle could break the spirit of a united species. For humanity, this was more than a victory. It was a promise, to every colony, to every world, and to every human, that they would protect what they built, defend what they loved, and rise stronger from every challenge. The galaxy had witnessed the unshakable spirit of humankind, and it would never be forgotten. The Dreadnoughts returned to orbit in formation, ready for the next mission. Engineers and pilots prepared, survivors celebrated, and leaders planned for the future. Humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming a true galactic power, not through conquest, but through unity, courage, and intelligence. And somewhere across the stars, the Consortium and other civilizations would remember one thing clearly. Humans never surrendered, humans never hesitated, and humans always found a way to rise. The age of humanity in the galaxy had begun, and it would shine brighter than any star.